A good start is half the job, especially with these tools: a cutting knife, a bevel tool, a tape measure, a jigsaw and a pencil. Spacers, a hammer, a tapping block, and a flat crowbar will also come in handy. It's not that difficult to install Pergo laminate flooring. Follow these steps and you will end up with a beautifully finished, even floor. Step 1. Measure the room. This will limit your cutting waste. You won't end up with a board of 2 centimeters wide and your floor will be solidly installed. You can measure the room easily by dividing the room width by the board width. This way, you'll know immediately how many full boards you'll need. With a calculator, you can save yourself a headache. It's best to end at both ends of the floor with an equally wide board, so take this into account. Measure where you will get to with full boards and mark the end point. Use this point on both sides of the room to draw a perpendicular line. Hammer a nail in the floor on both sides and stretch a rope between them. This way, your boards will certainly be straight. Once the room has been measured, you can open the boxes. Do this at the side. You'll have less risk of cutting into a board. Browse the manual, and then the real work starts. Professional tip: a wall is not always completely straight or taut, so it's best not to use it as a guideline. That's the reason why you don't place the first row of boards against the wall, but start away from it. After about 3 rows, you can start working towards the wall. When you measure, place a line on the wall to indicate where you'll get to with the full boards. From there, start with a few full rows and do not forget the spacers. This way, you're giving the floor some room to move under the influence of the humidity level. Immediately place about 3 rows. As soon as a few boards have been laid, you can start working from the floor. This gives you more control, and it's a bit easier to work towards your body. Professional tip: start your new row with the remainder of your previous row. This way, your boards will be divided a bit better instead of all just next to each other. And bear in mind that the space between 2 joints of adjacent boards has to be at least 30 centimeters. You have about 3 rows ready. Time to saw the board against the wall to size. Place a new board on the last full board of the floor. Use a piece of surplus board to draw a sawing line on that board. Then you don't have to measure everything. Professional tip: cut a groove into the piece of surplus board to keep your pencil in. It makes things smoother. Use the jigsaw to saw the last board to width and click them in the floor. Connect well with the crowbar and put the spacers in between. Skirting boards are best installed with these tools: a silicone caulking gun, a bevel tool, a crosscut saw, a handsaw with miter box, or a circular saw, and a glue gun. Your floor is only as beautiful as its finish, so spend the time and care that is needed for installing the skirting boards. First, remove all the spacers. You don't need them anymore. If you're working on a bathroom or kitchen floor, or if you need to clean this area frequently with water, then fill up the gutter between the wall and floor with PE foam and finish it with elastic silicone. Smooth it out evenly. Once you're done with silicone, measure an angle of the room. With a bevel tool, the ideal tool to measure angles, this is remarkably easy. This step is to glue the skirting boards to each other perfectly later on. Use that angle on your circular saw and saw out the skirting boards. Use your gun to apply the glue to your skirting boards. Take into account that your glue dries quickly. Push the skirting boards against the wall and press them well together. The skirting boards will bend a bit and you'll see that they fit the wall perfectly. Because you use the angle of the room to saw, the skirting boards will also match perfectly with each other. Professional tip: You want your skirting boards to be at the same height, so it's best to glue them together beforehand. Use glue with high initial adhesion. Don't forget to put something underneath the area you're gluing to avoid glue on the floor. Press well and let it dry.